following presentation is for mature audiences only.
Who are you?
He's a fine man.
All hell is broken loose.
He's a great broadcaster.
He's a very powerful guy. Absolutely brilliant.
Feared by men, adored by women.
He's a smart boy. It's patriotic. It's no big deal.
It's the end of the world. I might as well tell you now. He's a monkey.
And how you doing, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages? Welcome into another edition of The Wild Side with Eric Clark. I'm your host, Eric Clark, saying thank you for taking time out of your busy day to give my little video a watch and a listen. If you like it, like it. If you think other people are going to dig it, give it a share. Make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel and you're following me on all the social media platforms. That way, if there's a band, song, video, something you'd like me to check out, hit me up with a DM or leave it in the comments below. If you are going to hit me up with a DM, please no spamming, unless it's actual spam, then there's a mailing address. If you are going to leave it in the comments, do me a favor, become a Concurpa and join the I Concur Army. It's worldwide and growing. I love seeing I Concur pop up everywhere. I laugh every time. It never gets old. All you have to do to become a Concurpa and join the I Concur Army is give the comment a cursory glance. If you see your suggestion has already been made or you see another suggestion that makes you go, right on, all you have to do is like that original comment, below reply with I Concur. It'll help my old burnout resin-coated 90s drug-addled DJ brain get everything into a nice little organized list, and I can put it in the handy-dandy notebook. Also, twice a week, we are live streaming. The Wild Side Live from the east side of Nashville is coming at you Wednesdays, 11 a.m., Saturdays, 2 p.m. Another chance for you to get me your suggestion or ask me questions about my 30-plus years in rock radio, whether it's the music industry, how radio operates, backstage stories. It's just 2 hours of fun and frivolity, man. Live streaming Wednesdays and Saturdays. You don't even have to be a subscriber, but it'd be really cool if you did. Today's video, of course, is brought to you by Connect 200 Music to See and Aunt Betty's Nut Butter. And it is coming from a live stream. Someone said, hey, dude, you need to check out this track. And I have the DVD sent by one of my original Concurpas. So today we are going to the end of an era show, and we are going to watch the Kinslayer. It's Nightwish. Let's check it out on the Wild Side. All right, so there you go. Nightwish, the Kinslayer from the End of an Era DVD. You know, that was one of those tracks where they don't lull you into anything, right? They come right out and pull you in. You can resist all you want, but what I really dig about these cats is their ability to just snatch you up and bring you in and make you feel comfortable. So I always talk about the Holy Trinity with bands, about how the reactions between the band and the crowd, the band and the band, the band and the song. So I'm going to do that real quick before I get into the track itself. Obviously, the crowd is right there with Tarja. She's got them right there. They're all into it. There's great energy coming from that crowd. And, of course, Nightwish is putting out an added instrument to their music. I always talk about you can hear a smile. So if you're talking on the phone with someone and you smile when you speak, the conversation sounds a little brighter. It sounds a little more fresh and clean in how you're delivering the tone of your voice. So they're always really good about showing their joy of just being there. They're just happy to be there, right? So they're good about expressing their joy in what they do. And that comes through in the music. And because you're happy to be there and be experiencing them, those two energies collide in that ether, and it creates that added element to the overall experience of watching and listening to Nightwish. So then you watch the band and you understand that these guys, there's this expression called in a pocket or in a groove, whatever you want to call it. They're always so tight when they perform live. And it is one of the things about Nightwish that makes me call them cheat code, because you shouldn't sound that good live. Very rarely do you see a band live and you say, bro, that sounds as good, if not better, than the studio version. Bands like Pink Floyd, Tool, Yes, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Genesis. These were bands that could take what they do in the studio and apply that to a live performance, and it still sound exactly how you, the fan, you, the listener, were wanting it to sound, and better. So you've got this in your head. You say, okay, I have this one standard that I'm looking for. And then when you go see them live, they blow that standard out of the water because of that extra energy, because of that extra instrument that they've created through their own personalities and their own joy that creates that white surrounding light through the color spectrum. So they're so good about elevating the expectations of the audience. So they go above and beyond what you're ready to get from them. So, of course, you're blown away by all of that. Her vocals, Tarja's vocals in this, I wrote down O Fortuna, the classical opera song, O Fortuna. And I used to have a metal version or a techno version that I used to play in clubs. And right from the beginning, I was there. Right from the beginning, I was back in the club, back in the DJ booth saying, people need to hear this. Like, people need to hear how well this track is made, how well it's layered. So taking her vocals, super clean, no sharp edges, even though you would assume there to be sharp edges. There aren't any. She's not doing what are called on and off sets. So she's not struggling to begin, and she's not fading at the end. And that happens a lot. A lot of times when you watch a singer perform live, they kind of ramp into and drop off of what they're singing because they're roaming around, they're live, Not her. Obviously very well trained for her to be able to create those tones so richly, so thickly, and still bring the positive colors, the springtime life colors that I'm hearing in my head. And below that, so again, it's almost like I've described them as a flower blooming in a battlefield, where you get this really cool effervescent vocal tone on top of this really foreboding, driving metal song underneath. Perfect. Absolute perfect layers. And I've said it about Tuomas. He's the metal baker of layer cakes. He knows exactly how much to add, when to come in, when to take out. And there was a part where Empu, all he did was hit a lick and then the whammy bar. That's all he did. And it was perfectly placed. It was perfectly placed. I've said this about Empu. I will go to my grave saying it. He's the Finnish army knife of metal guitar tone. Any tone you're looking for in a track, whether it's operatic, whether it's symphonic, whether it's progressive or blues or psychedelic or punk or metal, whatever you're asking Empu to create, he creates something more than you were expecting. He's brilliant. I'm putting him up there in the top 10 guitar players currently. When I discovered him the first time, I was like, dude, that's something different. That is a different level of tone creation. A lot of guitar players have one or two sounds. Like you hear a guitar player and you're like, okay, I know who that is. He's different. I'm not going to say better. He's different in his genius. So when Tuomas is writing something, Tuomas hears it in his head. And he trusts that when he says it to Empu, Empu's got it, and better. So Empu is going to exceed the expectation of the person creating that came up with it. So the person that said, okay, I need this sound here, Empu said, I got you, fam. And I want to put a little zhuzh on it. And it's going to make it better. Trust me. And they do. The trust between them is incredible. Just absolutely incredible and very well earned. And what I was watching Marco do on that bass, I said it before when I first saw the guy, he's pure metal. He is pure metal. If you asked me to build a guy in a metal band, I would build Marco. That's exactly what I'm looking for. His vocals, his bass playing. That was really cool how, excuse me, there was almost a harmony with the bass and the guitar. So there was almost this harmony between Marco and Empu. And yet, Marco and Yuka are the ones building the bridges and really laying down the foundation of the track overall. And yet he still finds the places where harmonizing his bass with the guitar and then hearing Empu kind of fade back and allow that bass to take center stage. And then that just fade back. And then Empu come in and then vocals come in. I've said this before about the band. They're really good about no one being, yes, you have a front person. Yes, you have a lead singer. But everybody that contributes to the song is the best at what they do. So any one of them could take center stage. Whether you're listening to the 50-mile marathon on the double bass roll that Yuka's running, or these really cool menthol tones that Empu is creating in the background, and then he steps up and puts down this perfect metal riff, and then fades back and does cool little subtle things. Or Marco creating this really cool bridge building between he and Yuka while also maintaining his place in that rhythmic formation in the band. And then you got the guy on the keys, man. You got the guy on the keys just taking that needle and thread, right? And sewing it all together. And it's perfect. Tuomas is one of the greatest music composers living in our time. And it's another example of why. Because music is about layers. And the layers all need to fit. If one of those layers is off in any way, shape, or form, you're going to hear it. And it's not going to sit right. Have you ever done that? You ever listened to a song and you're like, I like the song, but there's something that doesn't feel right. There's something off about it. It's one of those layers of sound. One of those layers isn't clicking in your head. I have yet to hear anything from Tuomas, whether it's Nightwish, Ari, whatever it is he's doing. I have yet to hear anything from Tuomas that isn't perfectly layered. Everything has a place, everything fits, and even though some things may be unexpected, they make sense. And that's what you want your music to do. You want your music to make sense. And that's the thing about Nightwish that has always impressed me, is that their music makes sense. There's nothing off. There's nothing out of place. There's nothing too much. There's nothing too little. I've said it before. He is the perfect metal layer cake baker. So Tuomas Holopainen, as far as I'm concerned, like I said, is in the top 5 musical composers. I'm not talking about rock and roll. I'm talking about music, like music in general. That guy's in the top 5. So very well done. Just another example of why this band is absolute cheat code, all coming from the singular genius brain that is Tuomas Holopainen. And when you have people like Tarja on vocals, Marco on bass, Yuka on drums, Empu on that guitar, just giving you those perfect tones, again, dude, that's murderer's row right there of musical talent. So thank you very much for that. That was Nightwish, the Kinslayer, from the End of an Era show. And I want to thank my man Rich for the DVD. Appreciate it greatly. Thank you, Kevin, for all of the cool stuff I have up here. And anything, if you want me to put up some stuff on my Wall of Fame, you're more than welcome to send me stuff to put up on the Concurpa Wall of Fame. So thank you very much for that. Again, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Make sure you're following on all the social media. And, of course, we're live streaming. Almost forgot when I was live streaming. Wednesdays and Saturdays. Wednesdays, 11 a.m., Saturdays, 2 p.m. More opportunities for you to get a hold of me. I'm a public dude. I'm not that hard to find. Just look for the mug. Thank you to Connect 200 Music to See. And, of course, Aunt Betty's Nut Butter. Thank you to all of you for taking time out of your busy day to give my little video a watch and a listen. Make sure you're looking out for each other. Make sure you're looking out for your neighbor. Try to do at least one good thing a day. I am Eric Clark, and this has been The Wild Side.